Okay, hello everybody. It's been a while. What's going on? Not much. Anyway, this is going to be a pretty short video. Um, it's about vintage Bumblebee capacitors. So I have a small stash of new old stock um, Sprague Bumblebee capacitors that I use in some of my guitars. And so I gotten used to how they sound, and I like them in my guitars, with my harnesses and all the hardware and everything I've done, like the Four Uncles bridges, which continue to sell really well, but they're low production, handmade, so they're kind of hard to get. But boy, are they worth it! They've changed every guitar I put them into. Just like they went from here to here just by putting that bridge in. And so I'm not one of those guys that says, all capacitors that are 0.5 microfarad, all of them sound alike, because that's just not true. And anybody that's telling you that is like, hasn't done any work. You have to use your ears. And that's the bottom line. And there's really no way to test how they're going to sound on meters and stuff like that. So anyway, so I tried these Bumblebee capacitors that are supposedly replicas of the originals, which it's not really possible to make a 100% accurate replica, because the oil inside of them is not an actual oil. It's the really toxic, poisonous stuff that's in the big electric power transformers. And so you don't want to use that. So anyway, you don't want to buy capacitors by how they look. If somebody takes a tone cap and puts it in a plastic shell and paints nice little color codes on it, well, that's not a replica. That doesn't work. So, but I'm open-minded, so I found this company called Jupiter Condenser. And so I bought a couple caps from them, and first thing I did was I put the 0.022 microfarad B replica in my guitar to replace a new old stock vintage Sprague Bumblebee cap. And so I put it in there, tried it out, and it sounded exactly the same as the new old stock vintage cap. So I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. So I bought some more, and I put them in some other guitars and did the same thing. It has its own kind of warm sound. And so with my new old stock vintage wire sets that I'm selling, I include all controls, caps, pots, and so here's how I build my control sets. I use an old metal plate off the junky Gibson ones that use the long stem pots. So it has the perfect spacing between all the pots and stuff. So I use those to put those together. But here is a super important part of the harness. Nobody talks about this. It's because they don't, they look and don't see. And even Gibson gets this wrong in a lot of their a little bit older Les Pauls. They I didn't think I was going to talk about this, but anyway, the braided shield wire, the vintage, it was like two pair braids like that on the braids. And that's not all that important, but it is important. But inside, you probably can't see it, but inside here, there's black cotton. That's an insulator. But under that, there's a white layer called Celanese. It's like a nylon. So Gibson used the cheap stuff that was two-pair braid, but it only had one layer of insulation, the black cotton. So that completely changes the capacitance of the entire length of the switch wiring, which is it's another money-saving thing they do, and you get the bad end of the stick there. So anyway, so that needs to be done right to get the right capacitance in your harness. So I've been using the Jupiter Condenser B replicas with the aluminum foil. And a couple weeks ago, I was reordering the stuff for my harnesses, and I noticed there was one that said tin foil. It's like, what? Tin foil? I didn't even notice it before. And I looked up the conductivity of aluminum foil versus tin foil. Tin foil is a terrible conductor of electricity. It's just bad. Aluminum is a great conductor of electricity. So I started thinking, that's got to sound different. So I ordered the B replica with tin foil instead of the aluminum foil. And lo and behold, I was trying to guess how it was going to sound. And lo and behold, it sounded different. It had this kind of warmth to it that's hard to describe. And it's not overpowering, but the tin foil in it, it just sounds a little warmer in a certain way. It's like it's not dark, but it's kind of it sounds a little more like an aged capacitor. So in this video, I use the Les Paul Classic with the 4 Uncles bridge on it, and my regular pots and all that stuff. And so I recorded the tinfoil one first because I wanted to play that a couple days and let it set in and stabilize and listen to it. And then I recorded it, and then I took it out. I put back in the aluminum foil one, and I could hear the difference. The aluminum foil one was a little brighter, a little more distinct. Like in some of the chords I play, like a bar chord, and you add a suspended note to it, da 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 da, and I could hear that suspended note better than in the tinfoil one. But the tinfoil one had this warm kind of vintage sound that the other one didn't. So that was a wake-up call. And then in his description, he said the tinfoil bees were the first early versions of the Sprague bee caps. I didn't know that. And the aluminum foil ones were later. They're a little brighter, a little more distinct. And so it was like, well, which one is better? Well, neither one was better. I seem to prefer the aluminum foil one, but if you've got a really bright sounding guitar and you haven't done the harness right and you've got junky Gibson hardware and you're getting this harsh kind of tinny sound, the tinfoil one might really help a lot. But the harness is everything. Every part of it counts. And if you change one part, you won't hear exactly how it changed for like 2 or 3 days, because every time you change a part, it has to settle in. So you can't hear the change right away. You have to play it in, So anyway, I don't get free capacitors from Jupiter, and I buy them all, so I'm not getting any grifter benefits here. So I just wanted to give a shout out to those guys. Christopher Young is the guy that does it, and they're expensive. They're $30 a piece, and they are well worth it. So if you're pushing to get your Les Paul to sound more vintage, give them both a try, and then get your wiring done right, get the right pots with a decent taper, and you want the higher reading ones, especially for neck and even for bridge positions. So I tune my pots. I shave the carbon tracks to get them up to where I want them. It's not a fun thing to do, and it takes a lot of practice. So anyway, I'm going to play the A versus B, tin versus aluminum caps on the Les Paul Classic that still has the prototype PAF replica, the 8.81 that I'm still listening to and still loving. It made this guitar along with the Four Uncles bridge. So enough gab. Let's get this going and take a listen. I'll probably do a bit long comparisons of the tinfoil versus aluminum. So I'll point something out in the very first comparison, so to get your ears kind of tuned into what both are doing, and then from there on it'll just be A versus B, different licks. You can just click around on the timeline, or somebody can put some timestamps on it. I'm not sure how to do that. So let's go, and that's about all I can say right now. I hope you enjoy the video. So thanks for watching, and back soon sometime if I have something else to show off. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe. That helps me get the word out there, and share the video where you can. And Just about pulled my mic off, so here we go. In this photo at the very top is the aluminum foil Jupiter Condenser B replica Bumblebee. Below that one is the tin foil Jupiter Condenser Bumblebee replica. The one below that is a real new old stock Bumblebee Sprague 0.022 microfarad. The bottom one is a Jupiter Condenser 0.015 microfarad Jupiter Condenser. That's what I use in the neck position to get real nice woman tone and good clarity in the neck PAF replicas. So these are what I use in my most expensive harnesses. It's good stuff and you should go try it. So here we go into the audio comparisons, but before I do the long comparisons, I'm going to first play a very simple lick, and so you can hear an immediate comparison instead of long playing. So this is the first lick here, and this is the tinfoil Bumblebee replica. And now here is the aluminum foil Bumblebee replica. So right away, if you're listening through a device or studio speakers or headphones or whatever, make sure you turn it up, first of all, so you get the full frequency. You notice right away that the tinfoil one is a bit rounder, a little bit warmer than the aluminum foil one. So it's not a huge difference, but it is a difference, and it does make a difference. Okay, here we go with the rest of the comparisons. This one is the tinfoil. This one is the aluminum foil. Back to tinfoil. Back to aluminum foil. Tinfoil. again, aluminum foil. Back to tinfoil. And finally, aluminum foil. Okay, so that's the end of the video. When I find something that really works, that I really like, you know, I'll do videos of this stuff. So, you know, go look up JupiterCondenser.com. Not only do they have B replicas that are actually like really B replicas, they have a lot of other capacitors there for, you know, Fender guitars and other stuff. And they also do like hi-fi capacitors and stuff like that, and they have a really good reputation. This isn't any kind of monetary benefit that I'm doing this. I'm just doing this because I love these capacitors. And you know me, if it doesn't cut it, I'm not going to talk about it. And if it's bad, if it's really bad, like, you know, what, like those guys in Nashville do, just because they have a logo, you know darn well I'm not going to buy the hype and advertising and anything I compare it to actual vintage stuff. If it doesn't match up, I'm not going to give you a video about it, except I'll give you a video showing why they're not telling you the truth. So that's all for now. We'll see what happens next. Stay tuned and subscribe. Thanks.